Cool. Cool. It looks like we are live. I'm just checking on YouTube to make sure that we are good to go. We are definitely live. We are definitely live. Awesome. Looks good.
All right.
I think that looks fairly good. Nice and level. Cool. I think we got a couple people on here already, I think. Say hello to the chat. Should be fun. Hopefully we get some people commenting and everything on the chat. That'd be nice.
All right.
We got a couple people watching here. Tony Stansberry says hello. What up, Tony? Tony's a new puller here in Ohio, from the Tiffin area, I do believe. It's going to be a beast. Cool. Awesome. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So, everyone, welcome to the East Ohio Arm Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Billy Collins. And on today's podcast, we have guest, headmaster referee, arm wrestler, and pastor, Mark Owen. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, no problem.
So, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. I saw quite a few videos of you online and your trip to France and everything, and I just wanted to get you on the podcast, man, and really learn about you. As a fellow brother in Christ, I really wanted to get to know you in that regard also, and give you a nice venue to let people know who you are.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome. So first thing, how about Mark? You just tell us about yourself, just in general. Tell us about you.
Well, see, I'm 57. I I work in a body shop about 7/10 of a mile away from my house, and I have 4 kids. Been married for 36 years.
Nice.
We got arm wrestling group here called Brute Squad, and I don't know. I don't know if you want to go into when I started or whatever. I started arm wrestling 1985, 86, something like that.
Nice.
I wrestled for until about 92. I was doing good. I moved to Portland here and kind of lost touch with arm wrestlers, and I was just really busy. I had 4 kids, little kids, and I was being a youth pastor, and just time and everything just kind of got out of it. And then, let's see, it was 2012. My blood pressure was going up, my cholesterol was going up, and I needed a reason to work out. Working out for just sake of working out, it just isn't me. So I got back into it in 2012, and
nice.
Found a tournament, and you know who Herman McCoy is?
I do not.
Oh, if you don't, a lot of your listeners probably do. But anyway, he was my first match back, and it didn't go well.
No, but, not quite, right?
So yeah, the rest is kind of history.
After that long taking time off, did you did you still remember everything, like your movements and everything, or was it a totally new
Yeah,
learning?
I still took third in the tournament, my first tournament back. So no,
Awesome.
it's kind of like riding a bicycle.
So so you started in '85, right?
Yeah, 85, 86, something like that.
And then you went until what year?
92 was about when I was
'92,
out. Got up. Yeah,
and then 2012, right? Got back in.
right.
Nice. You got quite a few years in it. Quite a few years.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I recently had like my first year in. I had all that pain, and then I took like 3 months off, and I thought it was, you know, time to wrap it up because I just couldn't handle that pain anymore, and just wasn't
Right.
working. So I took 3 months
Yeah,
off. Luckily, got back into it, and you know, here we sit.
yeah. It's funny how many guys come to our group and uh, come once or twice and never show up again. Because of stuff like that. It's
Yeah,
I tell my guys when they say this is hard. I say, well, if it was easy, every little girl would do it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was that aching pain that just would not go away. But it was my own fault. It was really just, lack of recovery work and everything. So whenever I got back into it after that 3 month break, I really tried to hone in on the recovery and everything and try to focus on that.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's a little different too. I had one of my buddies, Ernest Strands, when he first started. He was in pain for the first year. He said he didn't work out at all. He just arm wrestled on the weekends and took the rest of the week to recover.
Oh yeah, yeah.
After a year or so, it finally went away.
I definitely find that if I don't do the recovery, that pain just lasts all week.
No,
Like
really.
if I get a recovery workout in the next day after practice, I'm good. No pain at all for the rest of the
Yeah.
week.
Uh,
But I have to continue that recovery. I can do it the day after practice and then maybe take a day off or do another recovery session and then maybe take a day off or whatever. But, you know, yeah, I have to have that recovery work in or else I'm feeling that big time. Big time.
yeah. Yeah. I think I've been fortunate. I we pull pretty hard on practice. We pull for uh, about 4 hours, and and then I work out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and
Nice.
just get back into it.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool, man. How many guys do you have on your team?
Well, we have um, between 15 and 20 that show up every Sunday afternoon.
Awesome.
Um,
That's a nice group.
my my list that I send it out to is around 40 people. So
That's
if
awesome.
everybody showed up at once, we'd be in trouble.
How many tables do you guys normally have running?
We got 5 tables.
Awesome. I tell you what, that is definitely one thing that we learned. The more tables, the merrier. We only have
Right,
one table, we'd be there for probably forever, and we just don't
right.
have
Yeah,
time.
we did something a couple of weeks ago. We'll probably do it again, but sometimes you get a table hog. I'm probably guilty of that, but um, what we did is, yeah, we had everybody was on a table, and there was a few people still standing outside. And I said, okay, the person you're with, you got 5 minutes, and Russ, and I set my timer, and they went for 5 minutes, switching off back and forth, right and left-handed. And when 5 minute bell rang, we was like, okay, get a new dance partner, and shuffled it, and we went that way for a couple hours, and
Oh yeah, that's definitely a nice way of doing it.
yeah,
At
we're
this
good.
point in ours, we usually don't have too much trouble with ours trying to get any table time. We're sitting at roughly an average of 10 to 10 to 13 ish in ours, and I think we usually have about 3 tables, 4 at max sometimes, and it seems to work out.
Right.
It seems to work out okay. So we do
Right.
have some people here. We got some people in the chat that commented. Lawrence Bell's here. He said, "How's it going?" Hi, Lawrence. How are you? Scott Agulia, my training partner, he's here. He says, "I totally agree about the recovery work." Wilkie, Jeff Wilkinson, he says, "Greetings, boys. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing?" We got another few people watching. Um, so, so you got 15 to 20 guys coming every week. That's awesome. And you
Right.
said you're in Portland.
Yeah.
Where did you live prior to Portland, Mark?
I lived in a little place called Newport, Washington, kind of north of Spokane.
Oh, okay,
But
gotcha.
I've been down here for probably getting close to 30 years.
Oh, okay. So you've never lived anywhere else besides Washington State?
As a kid, I lived in different places. I lived in Montana. Montana is actually where I got started arm wrestling when I was about 20 years old or so.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice, nice. Um, so let's go and let's talk about any upcoming tournaments or events you got going on. Mark, you got anything going on in your life?
I don't really have anything planned right at the moment, other than I want to go to um, IFA Nationals was it in Joliet, Illinois?
Illinois, I do believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was definitely debating on going to that event, but we'll see what happens. I've got quite a bit of uh, refing to do this year. Uh, Recently got certified through Leonard, and
Okay.
it's starting to it's starting to the schedule's starting to fill in. Let's just say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're gonna hit up IFA Nationals. Anything else other than that? Did you think about going to Malaysia at all?
Oh yeah. I'm. If I can go, I'm gonna do that.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Now, how do you do your events? Is that just all out of pocket? Do you try to get sponsorships for that, or how do you go about with your travel and everything for that stuff?
Most of the time it's just out of pocket. Worlds I try to drum up, a little support, but yeah, that's why I don't go to more. If I had the money, I'd go to a tournament every month.
Yeah. How, is there many like smaller events around you at all?
Well, we just did Washington State, which was in Vancouver. That's just across the bridge. Um, and there was one in there's one every year in Myrtle Creek, which is Southern Oregon. There's one in 4th of July at Willamina, place about 2 hours south of here. Um, so there's not a whole lot right around here.
Yeah. Have you ever did any tournaments of your own, like promoted an event of your own and put it on yourself?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. We did a couple of them here in North Portland area. We did it. It was out in the middle of the street. It was kind of cool. We did a couple of them. We did them as uh, a charity event for a place called Teen Challenge. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's the best drug rehab program in the world,
Yeah.
bar none.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard a lot about it, and a lot of the men's gatherings that I've went to, like at Rally in the Valley in Youngstown and stuff. They really support that.
Right,
Yeah, it's a great thing that goes on for people that need that help for sure. So how let's talk. How did you get into arm wrestling? Like, was it a certain person that got you into arm wrestling? Was it like a just a cafeteria thing? Like, can you go over that? Like, how did you get into arm wrestling?
Sure. Um, I was living in Billings, Montana at the time, and I think I went there. I went to Billings Tech for auto body, and I remember how I met him. But I ran into Jim Wright. Are you familiar with him?
I'm not. I see. I've
No.
only been in the sport, brother, for like
Right.
little over 2 years. So
Right.
I'm
Well,
still learning
he was
everything.
the director of the Montana State arm wrestling at the time, and I was just young and dumb and broke, and and it gave me something to do. I kind of got into it with him, and I went over to his house like 2 3 days a week, worked out in his basement, and went to a lot of tournaments that year.
Yeah.
I took off pretty good. I mean, uh, I was wrestling at 165, and was it 60 in '86? I think I won arm wrestler of the year because it was kind of a point system. I won
Nice, nice,
the right-handed uh, point system and the left-handed point system, so I got wrestler of the year. So
awesome. That's awesome. Now, were you athletic as a teenager and stuff like that? Like, was
yeah,
you
not
to that kind of stuff, or was it just like just natural strength that drew you to the sport?
really wasn't. I was kind of a scrawny kid growing up. My I got bounced around a lot. Family wise, I kind of had a rough childhood. And my stepdad, when I was a teenager, he was kind of down on sports, and yeah, I was pretty skinny, scrawny little dude, and it was just kind of something that I took to. Like I say, it wasn't. I think the only sport that I did in high school was I think I did basketball when I was like seventh, eighth grade, and I did track 1 or 2 years, and that was about it.
Yeah, it's different kind of sport, isn't it?
Right.
It is. Did you kind of take to the technical aspect of it, or was it like all about power at first?
Probably technical. You need kind of need three things, I think, as far as to be a good arm wrestler. And if you've got two out of the three, you're good. At least
Yeah,
you need to be technical, you need to be strong, and you need to be fast.
yeah,
I wasn't fast.
yeah,
I was pretty slow on my start. I always tell the guys it was like when I started out, it was like ready to go, and I'd start
yeah,
from here.
yeah.
And so I learned how to be technical, and
I
I'm
think I got one
I
out
think
of
that's
three.
what taught me. Probably my strength is uh, defense.
Yeah,
Being able to bring it back from a losing position. I
yeah.
tell guys like, if you're going to beat me, you better beat me quick because if I stop you, there's a good chance I'm going to beat you.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely did that kind of at the first. I wanted to learn. See, like I said, I've only been in this 2 years, but I wanted to learn, the technical aspect of it first. Like I waited an entire year before I did my first event, and I wanted to really have the technical aspect of it as best as I could before I really wanted to jump into a bunch of tournaments. Which
All right.
maybe that was good, maybe it was bad. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I seem to think I'm doing okay for 2 years. I think, you know,
Right.
but it is what it is. We're only dealt so much. But I think I got one of the three. Like you said, like I'm working on the strength and I'm working on the speed. I think I got the technicality, but I gotta get those other two for sure.
Right. Yeah. If you're technical, it's like I know I beat a lot of guys that are stronger than me just because I knew more than they did.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I can imagine. You know, any of us going to any kind of gathering where some strong guys wanted to test themselves, and it's mainly the technique that I use in that regard. Just to keep them
Right.
safe.
Right.
Uh, yeah. So we went over the beginning of your career in arm wrestling. Can we talk about a little bit your refing? How like when did you start refing, and how did you get into that?
Probably pretty early. I helped a lot uh, with Jim Wright when we traveled to other tournaments. Um, and then when I moved from there, moved into Washington, I was involved in a guy named Carl Hancock. He did what was his organization called? West Coast Arm Wrestling Association. And I ended up helping him ref a lot of times
Yeah,
and just, refing my own events. And
yeah.
so, yeah, it's just,
I know a lot of people. I've
it's
heard
not
so
for
many.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I've heard so many arm wrestlers say, "I hate refing." I've heard them
Yeah.
say time and time again, for sure.
Right. Yeah, so it's pretty difficult. I mean, I know, and like you said, taking the test with Leonard, and I've taken the was it the master test a couple times at nationals and worlds, and haven't quite made it yet.
Yeah,
They test you pretty hard because they act like you're like the most obnoxious pair of arm wrestlers you want to find, and they're trying to fool you.
yeah,
So
yeah. Oh, for sure. So let's see. Just a couple comments. Mike Malone, he says, "Love these. Be technical, strong, and fast. I got some learning to do." Michael is one of the new pullers in the club in East Ohio, so he
right,
shows a lot of promise for sure. He has a good amount of strength, and he's pretty technical just after his first two practices.
right.
Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. So what all organizations are you certified through your for refing? Like I'm assuming that you're certified through IFA, obviously, right?
Yeah, yeah. I took my test with Leonard
Yeah,
and those guys. Yeah. So I first started in WAF taking the test when Leonard was still with them, and then just kind of followed him into the IFA.
gotcha. That's awesome, man. I'm hoping to get more involved with maybe even doing helping Leonard out at the Arnold's. I sent him a
Now,
message a while ago because it's only like a couple hours from my house. I told him, if you needed any help, just let me know. I'll jump in there and
right,
help you if you need it. Uh, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna go either way and watch the arm wrestling and just try to get as much exposure to high level competition as I can.
right.
But so let's move on. Let's Can you talk a little bit more about the team that you train with? Like, you impressed with any particular person that you train with? You want to give any shout outs to any of your training buddies?
Oh yeah, I got a couple guys, and then I got a lot of new guys. For one thing, it's kind of weird because stuff like this, I get new guys probably two or three a month.
Awesome,
Just hitting me up, on Facebook or whatever. And I actually had it was kind of funny story. I had one guy that was this was a couple years ago that was visiting from Australia, and
awesome.
family was here, and he looked up arm wrestling in this area, and I'd done a news story when I was going before I was going to Worlds. Me and Nancy Nations had done a news story, and
Yeah,
he basically just typed in arm wrestling Portland or whatever, and that story came up. And then he hit me up on Facebook and said, "Hey, can I come join?" And he come pulled with us a couple of times.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we got these guys are starting to make me feel weak. I mean, just um, Brian Fry. It's crazy. If you see him, you'd swear that he was um, 220 plus. He walks around at 198, and he's just a muscle. I mean, he's pretty scary. Um, Another one that's making big improvements is Aaron Yearsley. He's
Okay.
had a few super around that he's part of our group. He
Yeah.
hit me
That
up that,
name.
a few years back. I don't know. I think it was like 5 years ago or something. He'd broken his left arm at a tournament, and I didn't even know he was living in this area. He lives in Vancouver. Actually, I have quite a few guys from Vancouver as a part of our club. But he he knew of me and he trusted me enough, and he was like, I was the first one to pull it on his left arm. After a couple of years of being broke,
Yeah.
he knew I wasn't gonna anything stupid to hurt him or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Yeah.
he's doing real well now. Um, I had one young guy, probably our most improved guy is Kovani. Watch out for him. He's about 170 pounds. Um, he he's thinking about going to Worlds. I told him he needs to do that as a junior. The under 21
Yeah.
age. I think he'll do real good. Um, Joey Carter. He's a heavyweight. He's shown a lot of improvement. We were talking about those guys that you don't know whether they're going to stick around or not.
Right.
I was pretty sure Joey wasn't going to stick it out because he came and we pulled, and I was working with him, and like I do to everybody, and he couldn't just throw me down, even though he was outweighed me by 50, 80 pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
And he kept showing up and hit the gym a lot, and he's doing real well right now. I think he might be have the top of the rankings in Oregon. Um,
Awesome.
Ernest Strands, he just won the Washington State right and left in the heavyweights. I've been pulling with him for at least 5 years.
That's
Uh,
cool.
but yeah, we got a lot of guys that are just really working hard. Um, like I say, I got a lot of them. I'm probably in trouble for not mentioning everybody, or whatever. But Katie Hankey's one of our girls. She's doing real well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know of Nancy Nations. She won Worlds a few years back. She's
Yeah.
part of our
I've
group.
heard of Nancy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Very strong. Very strong. Now, now, are you the person in the group that mainly works with all the new people?
Um. Well, I've got to the point where where I've trained enough of my guys. It's really funny after you train your guys for a while, you hear yourself coming through them.
Yeah.
So I've got a bunch of guys that are pretty technical, and they tell them the same thing I do, and
That's
they're pretty pretty got a good eye for keeping everybody safe or whatever, and uh, making sure you don't get bad position, because it's just practice here, there's no sense in getting hurt, if
yeah.
you're not going to die for a win here.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, do you guys go? Do you guys do a lot of just slow pulling, or do you guys do like ready goes for your training and stuff?
Um, Probably a lot of slow pulling, but we do a little of both. So probably need to
That's
do a
cool.
little bit more quick starts, but
Yeah, I think
um,
we
we
started.
end up doing
Go ahead.
in with the Oregon rankings here. We do the way they do the rankings. It's either with the tournaments, how you place in the tournaments, or you can call somebody out and have a super match. We've been doing 2 or 3 uh, like big practices with everybody uh, a year, and different people call out somebody, and we do like a best of 5 super match.
That's cool.
Or we've done several of them here. Like keep telling our guys, it's like, you don't have to wait for one of those. Just call somebody out, do it here. So we've had a few of them here. So
That's cool. Now, who takes care of your guys' organ, the list? Like, who takes care of your rankings?
Nick Maurer is the one that does it mostly.
Okay. So where can you find that? Is that all on Facebook or is it on the internet? Like,
Yeah, yeah, it's on Facebook. It's like Oregon rankings.
oh, okay, I'll have to check that out. See how that's going. We have a group of people that have the OPAR rankings in Ohio, Ohio professional arm wrestling rankings, and they
Right.
do a great job. They do a great job. And I tell you what, that
Yeah.
is a just like refing. It is a job that you don't get much thanks for, and I really
Right. Yeah.
appreciate that.
There's a lot of whining about it, different times, and because he's still trying to work it out or whatever. And I tell him, it's like, yeah, don't get too bent out of shape if your name's not where you want it to be. It's like
Yeah,
just a name on a list.
right,
You
right.
get over it. You don't like who's ahead of you, go challenge them and
Yeah,
take their spot. So it's to remove the doubt.
yeah. So do they want you guys to go directly right ahead, or are you guys allowed to call out, clear up to the top of the list if they wanted?
There's he has a list for each weight class, and then they have a list for overalls, right and left.
Okay.
So for the most part, you can call out somebody above you or whatever if you want.
Now, does that bottom person do they automatically jump up to the given spot? Right.
Yeah, I think that's the way he's been doing it.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I just started getting into the whole rankings thing. Maybe like a year ago, and you know, I'm slowly creeping up that list. I started out in the 220 list, and then realized that I am a very small 220.
Right.
I was like 207, and walking into these 220 tournaments and stuff, and I'm just like, holy moly, these guys are 230, 240, cutting down to
Right.
220, and
Yeah.
I'm just totally outweighed a lot. So I totally skipped the 198s because in Ohio the 198s are killers. It's a
Right.
deep, deep, deep list. So I
Yeah.
I thought maybe, hey, go try to be the biggest man in the class, and went to the 176s. But what I'm finding is it's not any easier. It's not any
Right.
easier. If I'm
Right.
stronger than somebody, it's most likely they're a lot faster than me. And
Yeah.
we're
And little guys can be fast.
is it's I didn't do myself a service by
Right.
losing all the weight, and it's just as hard. These guys
Right.
they're definitely very strong individuals. Let's check out the chat. Uh, Juan's here. He says, "What's up, Billy?" Juan has a an event this upcoming weekend in Bowling Green, Ohio. Keep an eye out for that, everyone. That'll be fun. Ale House Arm Wrestling Championships. You can find that on Facebook. Wilkie, he said, he definitely has a high respect for the folks willing to ref. A lot of patience, knowledge, and attentiveness. Yes, refing is definitely a something that some people can do and some people can't, for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing how much I mean, you're only repping an area. I don't know if you can see my hand still. It's still I'm out of my screen, but you're only repping an area this big.
Yeah,
But I've had matches where things happen so fast. I felt like my eyes were spinning in my head. Trying to watch the elbow, watch this, that.
yeah.
All at the same time.
I had a thought there the other day. Like, it would be sweet if we had like glasses on that were able to record what we're seeing, and
Right.
if we miss something, you just hit rewind on the
Right.
glasses and just boom, it's right there. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. That would be that would be at least the right angle anyway.
Oh yeah,
Because that's the argument of uh, and somebody's got a camera over there, and they're like, "Oh no, it was a pin." And it's like, "Oh no, it wasn't."
right,
Um, like for instance, one time I remember Nationals. I can't remember the guy's name right off from New Jersey, and I was wrestling him right-handed, and he got. I didn't like the ref's grip. It depends on which side you're on, who got the better grip, and he had a really, really good grip on me, and he jerked me over, and I was out like this, and I was looking down my arm at the pad, and I could see that there was, I had a good quarter inch, and he was a little upset about it, like, oh, my buddy has this film. Is like not what I saw looking down my own arm, and the refs didn't call it, but so
right.
it's all about the angle where you're at.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'd love to be able to just have that right there. You got glasses on, you can have them clear, and just have like a little, you know, in the lens display or something like that that you can turn on. That would be awesome. It'd be
Right.
expensive, but I think for the big promotions it would be worth it for sure for the big
Right.
tournaments. Juan says, Billy, when are we going to Zoom? We're going to Zoom very soon. I got it all set up today, and that'll be fun. We're going to do a community Ohio arm wrestling community podcast here soon.
All
Uh,
right.
so we got sponsored by Marshall Thompson Trucking uh, for the purchase of our Zoom uh, account for a year. So we thank them so much for that, and so we're going to be going live with that. I think here pretty soon. Let's see. Michael Malone says, "So is it good to pull more than once a week, as long as it is slow pulling?" Uh, Mark, you want
That
to take
depends.
that?
I usually tell my guys, um, unless you're really, really good shape, I mean, really, really good shape and used to it, don't pull more than once a week
Yeah.
because it's just hard on your arm. And if you got enough, we pull hard enough and long enough that if you got enough to pull more than once a week, you didn't work hard enough during practice.
Right.
So
I had
generally what I do is we practice on Sunday afternoon, and I work out Tuesday night 8 to 10, Thursday night 8 to 10, and do it all again.
yeah, nice. So you have that schedule down. Do you guys differ
Yeah,
from that at all?
right. And I don't know. I think I'm a little different than everybody else. I don't do a lot of like what everybody call recovery work or whatever. And if I'm torn up a little bit, my weights are just down a little bit. But I I I think I'm a little crazy. I work out really hard. I mean, I don't leave anything out here when I get done working out.
Wow, nice. I see. I can't go too heavy on my training, or else I it just the pain just shoots in there in those little joints and the tendons and stuff. So I've been learning
Right.
to bring my weights up a little bit. Like I was doing like 10 to 20 pounds for like 100 reps for like 10 different movements. So I recently went from that to I just doubled the weight and did the 50 reps to try to see if I can gain some strength and still get the recovery in. So I'm still trying
Right.
to find my sweet spot. It's like a year in the making. I'm still
Right.
trying to
Um,
figure it out.
usually do what I tend to tell people when they have something where that hurts them. Um, I tell them do light sets like you're talking about. 35 to 50 until you can get it to quit hurting, and then whatever movement that is, you need to start lifting heavy as soon as you can to build that particular muscle up, so you quit hurting it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Got to get it.
I yeah, I generally the way I work out is if I may do more than 10 reps on the first one, but if I'm doing more than 10, it's not heavy enough. And I
No.
do a lot of um, I guess you'd call it pyramids, where I'll do a weight and then I'll do like 10 of them or whatever, and then I'll add weight to it. I'll do 10 more. I'll add weight to it. I'll do 10 more. I'll add weight to it till I
Yeah.
can do 3. And then
Okay.
if you really want a really good weight workout, go down, but do it. Go down by half the weight that you went up, and do that set. Um, until you can do 10 again. So like if you worked up to where you were only doing 3,
Yeah.
say you went up by 10 or 20 pounds, go down by 5s if you went up by 10s, and
Yeah.
do it where you can get a set of 10. And it makes it kind of a game, because you'll, the first couple sets you're only doing 3, 5, whatever. And then
Yeah.
you'll get down far enough and you're doing 8 and you're like, oh, and then it's like, oh my God. And it's like, no, you can't do no more. So then I got to do one more set, because I got to drop one more weight and do it again.
Yeah. I gotcha. I gotcha. That's that seems like it would be something that blows your arms up like crazy.
Right.
It sounds fun though. Let's see here. Let's check out the chat. Yeah, Billy. I'll hook you up with my buddy Bond, James Bond. Hey, let's get it done. I need all the help I can get. I'm sure he's talking about the glasses. Let's see. Wilkie says, have either of you had ever substituted weights for band work? Working like I do, I find I'm much more available for working with bands in my custodian job. So I have been able to hit the weights. So I think it all has to do with convenience. You know.
Yeah. I know a lot of people use bands.
Yeah.
I got a set of them hanging on the wall over here behind me.
Yeah.
Um, that I do sometimes. I'll do them. Generally, I don't. Uh, Not saying that it's bad. I mean, I think Alan Fisher uses bands a lot. So if it works for you, do it. You
Yeah.
know,
When I
and just
first
pull it so
started,
hard. Get your What's that?
the recovery work, uh, that I was lacking, it was all bands. It was like I would do like a hundred of these with a band at work. While I have some downtime or something, I'll just do rep out a hundred, hammer curls, and then I would do it like maybe 3 times a day or something like that. But then I finally got my setup down here in the garage, and it just, with the weights for me personally, I get much more better recovery in. But that doesn't mean that someone couldn't get really good recovery in with bands. Just the way that I've done, my recovery, it's easier for me to use the weights.
Right. Yeah, I generally like free weights best, because they're harder to control. Um, I recently got a cable machine, which has helped me do some other things. Gives me uh, sometimes a better workout.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you get
Quicker.
one of the ones that has the adjusters on the front, and then you just add the weight on the back, or the stack?
It's got the stack on it.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. I think
Yeah,
uh,
and it's
I think I'm getting ready to order one of the ones where you add the weight, and it's just your pulley system, and you can like bolt it to the wall and stuff.
yeah. I got this one at Costco. I think I can turn it around here. There you go. There's a machine there, and there.
Oh man, that's a nice setup there. Holy
Yeah,
moly!
works pretty good.
Wow.
It's got the bench that's unattached, and so I can put my own handles on it and different stuff like that.
That's awesome. And
So
then both
yeah,
of those, you can adjust both of those to any height on your pulleys.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
really,
yeah. They move up and down any place there,
that's
and
beautiful.
I have to thank my wife because I we were looking at it at Costco and I'm like, oh wow, look at this, and it's like, I'm a cheapskate. I don't. Uh,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
right, and she came home and called them up and bought it for me.
Oh, how awesome was that?
Yeah. So
I bet that was a nice surprise.
yeah, it was before Christmas, and I was sitting at home at lunchtime. And was like, well, they're here to deliver it. Merry Christmas.
That's awesome. That's
So
really
yeah, biggest thing I've been doing is lately with it is I'm a wimp with pull-ups. So I figured out a way that I can do assisted pull-ups with this thing, and give me some time. I'm gonna kill them.
oh, that's awesome. I think that's a goal that I want to hit is being able to do a one arm pull up.
Yeah,
I
yeah. Like
really
I say,
want to
I'm
do
I'm
that.
wimpy at pull-ups. I mean, I'm 3, 5, maybe on a good day or whatever. Pull-ups.
Now, how
So
do you
it's
do your pull? Do you do all your pull ups just like this, right? Chin ups, or do you do wide like shoulder pull ups with the hands facing forward?
um, well, and with its bar is I grab this way for some, and then this way for the other ones. So
Okay, that'd be sweet if you could get some attachments or something and just be able to just hold like that. That'd be almost perfect for you because you're a top roller,
well,
aren't you?
when I get past the where I can do enough of them. Like I say, I've
Yeah,
been literally killing it. I doing them assisted. So, but I've been doing every workout with them. I've been doing like literally 100 of them this way and 100 of them this way.
nice.
10 at a time or so. But
Yeah,
sitting
yeah,
there with a
build it
tally
in.
mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
awesome. That is a really nice setup you got there for sure.
yeah.
A really nice setup. I'm trying. I'm working on mine. I'm not going to show everybody, but I'm working on my setup. The man cave
Yeah. Well, we
is
actually just were able to build my shed here this last summer. Some of the guys
awesome.
helped me build it, and it's pretty cool little place.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and so you're able to fit everything in there in your shed?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
well, yeah, it's kind of amazing that we get so many tables, and I'll turn it around there. It's like so we usually got this is my old table. This one's probably as old as you are, and
Nice.
it's got my homemade cable attachments to it, and
Okay.
then we got three more tables there, and then the one I'm standing in front of here, and so yeah, we got it's my weight stack there,
Cool.
and yeah, and this is and one of my buddies that made that for us.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, so
Hashtag brute
and
squad. Awesome.
yeah, and then we got here's the front door. That's kind of
Really.
small. It's like 10 by 16, but
Yeah.
we make it work.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We normally go out to my friend Josh Croxell's place here in town, and he's got a big 3 car garage that we practice in. And thankfully, he bought that place because we were in just my garage, and for maybe I don't know the first 6 months or something like that, and it just was not enough space. You get
Yeah,
6 guys
yeah.
in there,
We were
right?
in my
Like, yeah,
yeah we were in my garage, and it's an old fashioned garage, and it's if you put a car in there, it's pretty cramped. That's how big it is.
yeah.
But and all my junk in there and table saws and everything, kind of tripping over everything, and so that's when we built this. And I wish I'd had more room to build a bigger one, but only do what you can do, right?
Yeah, yeah. I bet that's pretty nice in the summer though. You're able to just pull the tables right outside if you wanted. And, you know.
Can I mean we usually leave them in here. I got a window in each end, and I got two ceiling fans, and uh, got a big fan on the outside blowing air in, and so it
Oh,
works
nice,
out pretty good.
nice, nice, nice. Yeah, that is a really nice setup. I like that Brute Squad sign. That is really sweet.
Yeah, yeah. My friend Zach made that one.
Yeah, that's really cool. I definitely think once I get the the adjustable weight stack or the adjustable pulley system, that's definitely going to help as far as time. Also, for because if I do my entire recovery workout, all 10 movements or 12 movements, something like that, I'm down here for like an hour and a half, something like that. And it's mainly just moving the weights around, getting it on the pin, on off the pin, and moving the pulley because I got different areas where I hook pulleys up to and stuff. So it's a lot of not wasted time, but necessary time at this point, just to move everything around, just so I can do each
Right.
movement. So that'll help out tremendously. But I really like that weight stack. That is sweet. I bet that's coming. Now, did you just get that?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I uh, got it for Christmas, and um, I guess it was New Year, just after New Year's that I put it together. It
Holy
was like New
moly!
Year's
So
Day, or
you only had it a few days then, huh?
yeah,
That is sweet. I bet that's gonna come in handy big time.
yeah,
So
it does.
let's see here. We went and Christy Collins, my wife. She's in the chat. She says, "Nice shirt, Mark."
Thanks. Mhm.
That's what I thought
Yeah,
also.
this is the one I usually wear uh, to tournaments. This is what everybody knows me as. Here's Pastor Mark.
Nice,
That,
nice, nice. That's awesome. I Christy, my wife, she made me this one for Michigan State last year. Or well, yeah,
right,
last year now. So it has that and then Collins on
right.
the back. I was
Yeah,
able to
I was good. I was going to wear Brute Squad shirts, but one of them was dirty, and the other one was so wrinkly. My wife wouldn't let me wear it.
She
Your
said
wife probably
the
can
same way.
understand that.
Yeah, I can
I'd
imagine.
have probably put it
Exactly.
on, but
I
so,
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
yeah.
Wilkie said, "Yeah,
So it's kind
that's."
of fun. Do you recognize the name Brute Squad?
I think I've heard that before, for sure. I
So
think
what is from? You ever watch The Princess Bride?
yes.
So remember um, when the two of them are talking to Miracle Max, the Billy Crystal, and they're asking, it's Andre the Giant, and I can't remember the other guy's name, um, asking him, to do a miracle for him,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Go away, or I'll call the Brute Squad." And he says, "We're on the Brute Squad." And he looks at Andre the Giant and says, "You are the Brute Squad." So that's kind of where we picked up the name.
That is, hey, it works out nice. It fits
Yeah,
perfect for some arm wrestling.
yeah.
Let's see. Wilkie said that is a real nice setup that you got there for sure. Uh, we got somebody else in there. Jesus is good. He says, "Cool setup, Mark. Very nice." Scott Ogulia, my training partner, he said, "Perfect, great system. What did that run? Money, money, money." I would assume it's probably pretty expensive. Those,
I think
I
it
tell you
was
what, that
about
training
15.
equipment is not cheap. I've been looking, and it is not cheap.
Right. So that one there was, I think it's about $1,500. Yeah, that's why I said I probably wouldn't have bought it, but most of the training equipment, like I like my free weights, I look on Facebook Marketplace
Yeah.
and
Yes.
buy things cheap. You know,
Exactly. Yep.
I make a lot of my own stuff, like all my workout handles. I don't think I don't have any of them that are made by somebody else.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. I do all mine scraps PVCs from work and stuff, if they were going to throw away some PVC or whatever, and I'll grab it up, make a handle out of it.
Right,
I got all the multi spinners and all the different sizes, a homemade wrist max, for the fingers, a homemade wrist wrench, 2 inch, I think is what it is. I need to
right,
I'd like to make a different wrist wrench, because my wrist wrench, it's just the pipe and then it has the straps, and they come up and they just tie into a O-ring, and I want to figure out a way to have them come straight up and then meet something else, another piece of metal, and then hook onto that. I just gotta figure it out, I guess.
right.
But yeah, so that I appreciate you showing off the arm wrestling cabin there. That's really cool. Now, what do you call that? Just a training shed or
This is the Brute Squad headquarters.
Brute? Perfect. Brute Squad headquarters. So I definitely wanted to bring this up. We actually have a puller in common. That you've pulled recently. That's one of my training partners, Stacy Krupinski.
Right, right. Yeah, I remember wrestling him down in Myrtle Creek.
Nice, nice. He was just able to go on that long, nice trip with his dad. It was pretty awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
won?
And
Who
that was
ended
one of
up
the
winning
places
that match? Did you guys face
I
just
did.
once in the tournament?
I don't remember. I have to ask Stacy.
Who came out on top? I can't remember.
I won.
Oh, now was that right or left?
I have to ask Stacy. I don't remember. I wrestle both hands, so I don't know.
I gotcha. Stacy's left is very very good, and his right is coming along also pretty well. Uh, but yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up. I thought that was pretty cool. I remember seeing the videos of him on Jody Williams, or no,
Right.
it was somebody else's. It was Nano Cruz's videos, I do believe.
Right. Caller.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
I remember I saw him and I didn't recognize him. It's like, oh, this must be some new guy. I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty strong.
That's hilarious. Yeah, yeah. Stacy, the smaller guy, but I tell you what, he is strong as an ox. Guarantee you. So Mark? Can you tell us about your recent trip to France and the IFA Worlds? Can you kind of go over what you experienced over there?
Yeah, it was a fun trip. It was actually the first time I got my wife to travel with me overseas like
Awesome.
that. It was real fun. We ended up we stayed in we were in Paris, um, and we were just right around the corner from the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, how cool is
So
that?
we got to see that, and walked around. We didn't have a whole lot of time in Paris, but we walked around, up and down the streets there by the river, and uh, got to see lots of stuff there. Um, I would not like to drive in any of those French cities because they don't know what a grid system is. I don't think I saw one intersection that had less than 5 streets coming into it. They were at
Wow.
all angles and narrow and stuff. But we got to see, in Paris, and then we took the train uh, to a town called Rouen. I think that's how you pronounce it. And we had to switch trains, so we stopped there in Rouen and walked around that little town. Got to see lot more stuff, and then we got on the train a couple hours later and went to Dieppe where it was at. Dieppe is right on the English Channel. It was pretty cool with the uh, hotel we were at. Just up the hill was this big, huge castle that you can go walk around, and we didn't end up going in it because they had a worker strike that the day that we
Oh
had
my
time to go.
goodness.
I'm gonna do it, but we walked around the outside of it and got to see lots of cool stuff. Um, and then the tournament was a lot of fun. Uh, you get to meet people from all over the United States or all over the world. You know, United States too. Because I didn't
Yes.
know all our America's team members.
One of your teammates
And
is in the chat right now, Kevin Palco.
oh, I do it, Kevin. Yeah, I remember him being there. Um, and it's just it's it's weird just making friends with people all over the place. Probably my favorite memory there. Um, if I'm at a tournament, you'll know I'm there because I'm loud, and I'm always the coach. It doesn't matter if I go to a tournament where I don't know anybody. Before the tournament's over, I'll be coaching somebody.
Nice.
And like that, I'm just
Pick out one of the young guys and just help them
if
through.
not just without at times. But anyway, one of my favorite things was there was a guy from England. His name's Dan Earthquake. What a name for arm wrestling, huh? I believe he's the head of the UK arm wrestling organization over there. But anyway, we got to talking, and we were both standing there by the stage, and we ended up there was a guy from England wrestling against a guy from the United States, and we're there arm in arm having a shouting contest, to see who can yell louder for our teammate up there, So that was
Nice.
probably the funnest memory, that happened over there, So,
That's awesome.
but yeah, it's a lot of good arm wrestling, people from all over the place. I wish I could make the next weight class down because, like you were talking about, it's a 209 class uh, that I was wrestling in, and I'm sure a couple of those guys were, probably 230 before they weighed, the week
Yeah.
before they weighed in,
Right.
So it was a good tournament. I ended up in the Masters. I got second, and I got fourth right-handed. That's second left-handed, fourth right-handed. Um, had a little
Awesome.
problem keeping my elbow down because they're really, really strict on elbow fouls, and
Yep.
then uh, ended up wrestling all week. So I went to Open too, and I ended up about mid pack in the Open classes.
Okay.
Around 8-10 in the Open classes.
Wow.
Had a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That sounds like a great trip. I get to talk a little bit with Kevin about his trip, and I loved
Right.
watching all your guys' videos online and stuff, and watching the tournament on the internet. I watched it every day. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, so I
Right.
would get up a little bit early and for work because I have to get up around like 4 o'clock anyway for work. So I would just get up, a little bit early and turn on the tournament, and there's USA right there. It was
Right.
awesome watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to Worlds is a lot of fun. But I've been to Bulgaria, Turkey, and then the year before was in Florida, and then this year in France. So it's a
Awesome.
lot of fun seeing different places, and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
it's
I'm
really
looking.
weird walking into a place where nobody speaks English and seeing the menu on the on the wall and like, oh, I'll try that.
Hopefully they got pictures, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you said your wife was able to go with you, huh? I bet that
Yeah.
was. I bet that was pretty special, huh?
Yeah. It was pretty neat.
That's awesome.
So,
Like my wife, she was able to go to Michigan States with me last year, and I think that was the first time she was even able to go to an arm wrestling event because we got three young kids. You know, my boy is 10, my middle daughter is 13, and my oldest daughter is 16 right now. So they're, you know, with all the school stuff and everything, you
sure.
know, she doesn't get a whole lot of time to go with me to these things, but there was definitely a benefit. I think having the wife there with me at the event. It was a lot more enjoyable in my opinion.
Right.
So I can imagine on a long plane ride that having the wife there with you was way better than than anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a long trip. Something funny that happened on the way back on the airplane. Um, so in the planes they fly across the ocean are big. I don't know whether they're 767s or whatever they're called, but there's like what is there like four? I think there was four seats in the middle, and then two or three, an aisle and a row on the
Yeah,
outside or whatever.
jumbo jets. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're sitting kind of middle back, and right behind us was the bathrooms, and I'm sitting there and I'm like mostly asleep, as much as you can sleep on the plane,
Yeah.
and it was a really good thing I had my seatbelt on because I'm asleep, in kind of half dreamy state or whatever, and I hear this noise behind me that it sounded like and my mind went hijack
Oh no.
right away. And I was coming out of that chair. It was a good thing I had my seatbelt on because I was coming out and somebody was going to go down. And I come, like, "Ah!" And my wife, oh, no, you're okay, it's okay.
Oh
It
my.
took me, 20 seconds or whatever to like, okay, nobody's dying.
So what was the noise like? What startled you?
I don't know. It might have been pilot flushing. I don't know what it was.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Just out of
Yeah.
almost
So
a dead sleep and almost and then getting startled like that on a plane. I can imagine that was pretty startling for sure.
yeah. Yeah. If I had had my seatbelt on, I might have tackled somebody and then I'd have been in trouble.
Yeah, some little old lady by accident. Oh man,
Right.
did you guys get to eat any good food over there? Like, did you guys try any of the local cuisine?
Oh yeah, we ate all over the place, and some of it was good, and some of it was not so good. Actually, the hotel that we stayed in it was awful. We just
Oh,
yeah. But then me and Jim Fitzsimmons is
Jim Fitzsimmons.
he's from East Coast. Anyway, uh, him and his girlfriend, me and my wife, we went to a restaurant there that was just it was funny because it was way out of the way. It was one of those places where um, mostly the locals ate, because the ones in the downtown area were
Yeah,
uh,
easy to get to.
pretty touristy or whatever. And we were going to go to one there because they'd asked earlier, if they were open in the evening, and I don't know if they asked if they needed a reservation or not. But when we got there, the lady was like, she didn't speak much English at all, and she was like, "Reservation," and my wife and the other one was like, "No, no." I was like, "No, you go, you go." It's like, okay, we'll go someplace else. And I don't know, but
Wow,
we ended up going to this other place, and it was just really good stuff,
awesome.
And they they eat different than we do. As far as it's like the restaurant was like empty pretty much when we got there, but by the time we were there, while the whole place was completely full, and
Wow,
it's like they eat at a certain time of day. It's not like in America where you can go where you go to a restaurant and there's people there, you know, all day long, any time of day or whatever. But it's like they have a certain time of day that everybody eats or whatever.
Pretty
One of the other things that
structured
was
over
cool
there, isn't
there,
it?
yeah, one of the other things that was really cool there in Dieppe was on Saturday they had like farmer. Well, it's more than a farmer's market because it was more than just food, but I mean it was like blocks and blocks and blocks of people that were set up, and there was seafood. There was like big trailers that had chicken rotisseries in it. There just any kind of vegetable that you want to buy, fruit. Just walking down the streets. Then you want to go to another street, and then they were selling like clothes or purses, or it's kind of like the mall blew up and scattered all over the streets.
Oh, I
And
can
but it was
imagine.
really well organized. They were out of there in the afternoon, but it looked like I think most of the local people, because you'd see people walking in with like those little two-wheeled baskets, like they did their weekly shopping there.
Hmm.
So that was pretty cool to see.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Was there anything that really crazy that happened there, or anything that jumps out at you on your trip? Like,
Not overly. It wasn't anything bad. There was the work, like I say, there was the workers' strike there, and they were striking for like $15 an hour or something like that. And there was a bunch of cops out and about, kind of keeping it settled down or whatever, but didn't look like anybody got out of hand. So it was pretty mellow, pretty laid back, and no problems.
that's
So
cool. I know that the French can get pretty wild whenever they get on the streets.
yeah,
Protesting. They don't take no crap.
yeah.
I've seen
So
quite a
yeah,
bit.
it was pretty well under control. I think there was a lot of cops there that were probably there just in case, but
Yeah,
as far as I know, nothing happened.
yeah. I
So
used to watch a lot of Top Gear and like the Grand Tour. If you get into cars at all, uh, like Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May. Those
right,
guys at all. So that I always remember their French special. When they talked about all the French cars on the Grand Tour, and you know them French folk, they like their way of life for sure, and
yeah,
somewhat rules on how things are supposed to be done.
yeah, yeah. For the most part, they were pretty friendly. Didn't have any issues.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, so Mark, I think that's all my questions. Did you have anything that you wanted to go over while we had you on the podcast? Did you have anything that you want to let anybody know about that's going on in your life?
Um, not not that I think I would. We just arm wrestling and having fun,
Yeah.
doing what we're
Now,
doing here.
I know I mentioned or I talked to you maybe yesterday about it. Uh, your pastoral work. Like, did you kind of want to go over that and maybe like summarize your pastoral work over the years?
Sure. Um, I wasn't raised in a church. I got saved, became a Christian shortly after I got married. Uh, I I kind of a long story short. New Year's Day, 1988, with a really bad hangover. My wife said something to me that God used in my life, and I sat there and went, "Okay, God, I'll do it your way." And my life pretty much changed from that moment on. We ended up working a lot with the youth. Um, I was a youth leader for like 15 years. I was, the old guy in youth work, and we've had a couple different church plants that we've been a part of, and um, right now I'm not pastoring a church per se. I do what I call about let's talk about it. on Facebook,
Yep.
live every Saturday evening. And kind of my I guess my goal is, one is to show people that you can you can be an arm wrestler, you can be a man, because it kind of sometimes Christianity is kind of perceived as for uh, children and little old ladies. But you could be a real man and still be a Christian. That there's a reason to believe that it's if you look into it, uh,
Yep.
it's backed up by history.
Yeah.
That you can take your Bible and the prophecies, and you take your Google. You used to say encyclopedias, but you take Google and it's like Bible says this happened. It happened. Did it happen? And you can look it up and do it. You can see that it's true. Um, and that's kind of my thing. My ministry, I believe, is to arm wrestlers to just show them, like I say, that there is a better way. That it's kind of funny that a lot of the people that I've always attracted have been guys that are had a rough life, kind of like I did, growing up, and
Hmm.
so that's kind of it in a nutshell. That I like to get to know people, and you earn their respect, and then they'll listen to you. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Exactly.
and so yeah, I find like when we're here arm wrestling, if people got a question, I'll answer it. I don't generally, you know, if you come to my group, I'm not gonna beat you over the head with the Bible just to get you
Yeah.
come, because I got all sorts of people that come.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the nice part about doing the Facebook Live, because you can decide whether you want to listen to me or not.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you've got control, you got the off button, but I believe that's what God's using right now to reach out to people, and it's
That's awesome.
going well. So
That's awesome. I luckily I have you know quite a few Christian brothers that arm wrestle on our team. So my friend Christian and Alex and myself and it is a blessing really to be able to have your Christian brothers involved in the beyond the body activities. You know, it's pretty fun. You know, because it's a different connection. Than just myself to somebody just pulling that I don't really know. You know what I mean? If I know that they're a Christian,
right,
there's definitely a little bit more of a connection there for sure.
right,
But
yeah, and well, it breaks down lots of walls. Like you said, you hang out, holding hands with guys for 4 hours.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're not gonna get pretty. You're not gonna get much closer to a man, to another man than
Right.
arm wrestling, really.
Yeah, and that's even just arm wrestling. That's is kind of the neat thing about it is one of the things I thought of is like men in general were pretty much you know don't touch me,
Right.
keep your distance or whatever. But we need physical touch, and just arm wrestling, you kind of I don't know, it kind of meets that need, and doing physical things with guys or whatever. It's pretty good camaraderie.
Yeah.
You know,
It's that connection with another human being that
yeah,
we were created for.
right,
You
yeah,
know, we
and then
weren't. We definitely
you
weren't created to be isolate people. We were made to
right,
be in a community, and you know, we definitely have a unique community. In arm wrestling for sure.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
and this group of guys that we got coming here is like they're just really great group of guys. I mean, I could call on any of them to help me do something or whatever. You know, uh,
That's awesome.
on our
Yeah.
chat there's always people talking. Whether they need this or that and need help. And so
I've
yeah,
not really heard of like any bad. uh, you know, happenings whenever it comes to, arm wrestlers and their training groups and stuff. It's like the 2 years that I've been doing this, it's I want to say 90, 98, 99% positive, guys helping each other through situations and, being there for their, teammates when they need them and stuff. It's a band of brothers, really. It's what it ends up
Right.
being. It's an amazing thing. And like just for example, like whenever I went and got my certification through Leonard, on the way home, my car broke down. And lucky enough, one of the guys that I've met through arm wrestling lived only 20 minutes away from where I broke down.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Dave Shell, the professor. What a wonderful man. So
Right.
he came and picked us up, and we got to get a couple hours sleep at his place, and then he carted us to the U-Haul place, and we rented the U-Haul, and then drug the car home. it
Right.
That was a fiasco, I tell you. That was a wild day.
Yeah.
But without arm wrestling, I don't know what would have happened. We might
Right.
have been sleeping on the side of a freeway, but
Right.
you hold hands with enough men, and you meet people, and you make them friendships that some turn into brotherhoods, and
Right.
it is definitely a great community for sure.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting just how those connections are made so much. I mean, it's even like on our way on the train to Dieppe. Um, my wife, we were sitting there playing the game, and there was this other guy sitting there, and we ended up starting to talk to him. He was from Canada, and he was going to the tournament also. It's Mark McPhee, I believe is his last name. And we got sitting there talking with him. Got to be good friends, and we cheered for each other during the tournament. And when you weren't one of our country guys, and
Yeah,
and
exactly.
uh, and that was funny because there was this uh, guy from one of the Asian countries. I don't remember which one or whatever. Mark and I were sitting there talking, and this guy was sitting there, and he was sitting there going like this, and I'm like, "That's an arm wrestler."
Oh, you can tell by the
Yeah,
movement for sure. Somebody sitting there going like this, and rubbing
yeah,
their elbow and stuff. Oh, you can definitely tell them arm wrestlers for sure. Yeah,
right,
I tend to rub that wrist quite a bit, and get that elbow warmed up for
right.
sure.
So where is it that you were talking about different aches in your arm? Where does it hurt you?
Back in the day, it was just the brachialis was mainly my issue back in the day. But since I've been doing the uh, recovery work, I really I have a small nagging injury on my left. Like my pronation is not. It's pretty much that's why it's a party arm, But
Right,
right is pretty healthy, but whenever I did have the pain in the beginning, it was mainly just all on that brachialis, and it just would not stop. Ugh. It was that achy, and man, I remember having to take ibuprofen just to sleep. It was horrible.
right,
That's one thing I don't want to need to have is a bunch of medication in my body.
right.
But
There was one exercise that I tell people to do all the time. I don't do the JM presses because the one I'm telling you about kind of does repair, builds up your elbow about the same way.
okay,
Um, let me you can grab this there and show you.
yeah, that's a big old grip.
usually work up to that weight. So this is one my elbow health.
I gotcha.
I recommend for people to do this one all the time. There we go.
Okay.
So you're lifting it with just your wrist,
Okay.
and it works this right here.
Gotcha.
And you make that one strong, and you won't hurt your elbows.
Nice. I've been
And
doing
it
quite a
does.
bit.
What's that?
I've been doing quite a bit of tricep push downs and kickbacks to, get my arms warmed up before, I do all my other stuff. But on them tricep
Right.
push downs, I'll really kind of like step back away from the cable and really have it really, come close to my body so I can really feel it in them elbows and get enough weight to where it's worth it, where it'll actually hit it. Because
Yeah.
I don't
This
because I don't have a bench or anything like that, so I can't do JM presses anyway. So
right. Um, this is the best one I found uh, to do. That, like I say,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I do that one heavy. I mean, yeah, as I possibly can.
Gotcha. Now, I meant to ask you earlier, like, what is your pulling style, Mark? Like, what do you kind of mainly go for?
I generally do top roll. I could go anywhere. I mean, I'll go inside with you.
Yeah,
Depending on who it is that I'm pulling. Seems like lately, it's about hand control. So a lot of times I will, if I could just control your hand over sideways, I'll
hmm,
take you that way.
yeah, yeah. That's cool. I seem to, you know, 90% of the world's best are all top rollers. So like it just makes me think, if 90% of the best guys in the world are top rolling, try to focus on the top roll and then you know, use the hook as, secondary to, have it in case you need it, obviously, and then, hone the rest of the skills up around. Uh,
Yeah, well, top rolling's easier on your arm because it's leverage, where it's coming in hooking or deep inside. It's so hard down in here on your arm.
yeah,
But I tell my guys, you need to be good everywhere. I mean,
yeah.
it's like I was just thinking at nationals, I was wrestling Danny Gillian.
Oh yeah.
Uh, he's tough dude, and we time we got together during that tournament, I tried to go top roll him, and he just ate me. And so next time I came back, I dove deep inside with him, and it was a long match. Yeah, I finally beat him, but it wasn't working the other way, so I had to go
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah. You find the right key for the lock.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that
You got to find the person's weakness.
yeah.
That you're wrestling, and the other thing is, I tell my guys all the time is, when you're wrestling, you have to be pulling 2 to 3 different directions at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for instance, like I'll be practicing with somebody and I'll let them take me over and I'm like, okay, all your power is right here in the middle of my hand. Okay. Above this or below it. You need to top roll out of it or dive inside of it. But when you do that, you have to maintain this pressure and add this pressure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's the way when I set up my cable system, I got 3 cables pulled on one handle. I got
Oh,
one that
nice.
pulls sideways, one pulls up, and one that pulls across the table.
Wow.
And when you're pulling, and when you get whether you're working real heavy, um, if you ain't engaged in all 3 of them, you won't move it because you'll try to just take it sideways and it'll pull you forward.
Yeah. I think I might have lost you a little bit on the audio there. There, Mark.
To call me.
Oh, there we go. I got you now. Yeah, I want to, as soon as I get my pulley system, I want to utilize the bands, on the opposite sides and whatnot like that for sure. Like right now, I just don't.
Right.
I don't have a lot of capabilities. I do have a good amount, but I just got to get unique with with the way I do it as far as the training and stuff. So it'll get there. It'll get there. But it takes a little time to figure everything out the right way that I want to do things. But like I said, I've only been doing this recovery stuff since I don't know, maybe last March, something like that. But
Right.
we'll get it. We'll get it.
Yeah. On mine, my old table, I just kind of built attachments onto it, and a lot of times that's all I'll do during the workout is pull with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of good information there. Definitely appreciate you throwing in the tidbits for the new guys for sure. Um, let's see. If anybody in the chat, if anybody has any questions, you guys better start asking the questions now because we're going to be wrapping it up here pretty soon. Wilkie says, "Smash the like button, boys and girls. Yes, please hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We really appreciate it." Scott Agulia, does anyone know where Worlds will be held in 2023?
It's in Malaysia, and the IFA is
Do you know what where in Malaysia that is being held?
no.
I didn't either. I went.
Look up Denise Waddles.
Yeah,
Denise Waddles on Facebook, and you probably find it on her
yeah.
page.
Scott, I'll send you the link to that. Tony Stansbury says, "Thanks for the tip, Mark. I'll definitely add these in. Is it where that is where he's having his pain currently in that elbow? So that'll definitely help Tony out. Tony's got a wicked
Yeah,
strong hand.
yeah. Those work really good because I say especially when you get real heavy, it puts that stress right on there. And just be sure when you do it, you're lay your shoulder on the table, and this is all you're lifting with. You're not trying to pick it up off the table because then you'll hurt yourself, especially when you get heavy. But you're
Yeah.
just doing the wrist work here like that.
Wilkie says, "Yeah, that's good stuff there." Tony Stansbury has a question. He says he's curious since Mark is an auto body guy if he has any classic cars.
I drive a '66 GMC pickup with a 4BT Cummins in it.
Oh my, that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome.
It's
Tony,
kind
I
of a
believe
work in
Tony
progress.
is a auto mechanic. I do believe. Mike Malone says, "I appreciate all the good things that were said and different ways to build the forum up for sure." Yeah, Michael's the he'll be doing good. Like take all that information and utilize it for sure. Don't neglect your recovery work. That's what I tell every new person that I have come in. I'm like, just please do the recovery work. Don't do like I did and neglect it.
Right.
Tony says that sounds pretty sweet. And yes, Billy, diesel mechanic. Yeah. So now we know why he has such strong hands.
Right.
Michael asks, any other wrist workouts for the hand and wrist with bands that can help? You got anything that you would have a newcomer do with bands specifically that you would want them to try to you know try to do it for their recovery?
Um, well, arm wrestling is all about the hand and forearm, right? So let me grab one here real quick.
Mike, you're about to learn something. Pay attention.
So I generally pull on every possible angle that I can. Okay, so I'll do the same thing with the band as I will with some of my handles and the weights. Um, so get your band tied down, put it over the back part of your hand, and kind of bring it in this motion. But then keep moving it. Like get a different angle. I'll do them there. I'll do them there. Um, I'll take them and turn it upside down and do them this way, and just keep chanting because you don't know what angle that somebody's going to hit you at, right? So you need to be strong in every single angle, and and I generally don't do static work. I don't remember if you were mentioned that or somebody was. Oh, it was when you're on your last one with Chucky. There was something about doing static work. Um, I don't do any static work. I've never wrestled somebody that's static.
Hmm.
And I remember hearing Devin Lorette say that static work is a good way to hurt yourself because it'll take it away from you. And he says if you really want to do static work, um, use like a chain
Hmm.
and set it up the angle that you want and just pull as hard as you can against that chain,
Yep.
but it's
Isometric.
not going to take away from you and hurt you. But yeah, as far as band work, I would just that was the main thing is just do every possible angle that you can with that.
That's awesome. That's good tips there. Good tips. Thank you, Mark. Michael, I hope that helps in your training. I do believe Michael's going to be getting a table soon, and he's diving in head first. It seems like, which is good.
Right.
You
And
know.
and to something you could do with bands if you have more than one. You remember I said you always need to pull 2 to 3 different directions. Use at least 2 bands, maybe one of them forward and one of them to the side, to where you're getting both directions at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I was thinking also for mine, would I put, so I say I'm working on just a drag hook, right? Would I put one band on like the top part of the handle and then maybe one on the bottom of the handle that way, or do you just hook everything up to a single point, and then from there it spider out?
Well, a little hard to explain. Like I don't do a whole lot with bands. Um, if you wanted to, I could show you what I do on my table. It's pretty easy to set up if you want me to.
That's up to you. It's
Yeah,
up to
I can do that.
It's definitely good information for the young guys.
Turn this around and name it over there.
Thanks for watching, Scott. Appreciate you.
All right, so this is my table that I do most of my workouts on.
Look at that setup. Holy moly.
This one took me a little bit to figure out how to do. I built it this way because I wanted to be able to use both sides of the table.
Right.
This one just slips over the top.
Oh, how convenient is that?
So when I want to do the other side, I just take it, flip it around to the other side.
That's awesome. That is an idea there. That is great.
So that's this bar here. Swing whichever angle I want to do it from. And then I have 3 of these that I built, and just
Yeah.
a pipe with a hook on it to hang the weights from. So.
Okay, I see what you're doing. I gotcha. Yeah, it's giving me some ideas there.
So I'll hook this one on that one.
Yeah, you got that right, Jeff. Cheese and rice. That is impressive. That is a nice setup for sure. Now that one pretty much that one setup, is that like something that you could do just that one movement with all that set up at once?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I'll show you here real quick. Got it.
Literally hits everything in one movement. That
Yeah. So
sweet.
I said I build most of my own handles and stuff. Um, one of my beliefs is that the more awkward it is, harder to hang on to, the better it is.
Yeah.
And so this is actually probably my favorite handle. It's just like a 1/2 inch rope,
Yeah.
and this is a hangman's noose. This is the end that puts up his head through or whatever for a hangman's noose. But
Oh
I
man.
hang on to it this way. But
Okay.
this is probably my favorite one.
We are learning something today, boys.
I don't know if everybody does it the way I do. I'm a little unorthodox, but
Man, you're giving a lot of people some ideas. Giving me some ideas for sure.
something like this will give you. You can pull pretty much any angle that you want to. Sometimes I do all 3. Sometimes I'll just do one of them at a time.
Now, are you gonna feel the different weights from each angle in the one
Yeah.
handle?
There, just about there.
Mm-hmm.
With another one in there. So this one's pulling up, that one's pulling that way, and this one's pulling this way. So when you pull on it, so I'm having to pull it this way, and this way.
Oh wow. Okay, I
And
gotcha.
so then, like with this one, like I said, you were asking like the different angles. So I'll tip this one over in my hand, the upside down way, which is more for like hooking them inside. So
Yeah.
pull in this way. So yeah, that's, and you can, like I say, you vary
Wow.
the weights where you want, because a lot of times during my workout, I want to, maybe I want a little more back pressure than I do the side pressure. So I'll go heavier on this one than I go on that one.
Okay.
And this one kind of work together. So actually the down one is actually fairly, I don't put a lot of weight on that one because it's kind of adding to this one,
Okay.
but it keeps it from, like sometimes when you do an exercise, you got an easy spot. With this, it takes away the easy spot because,
Oh,
you
okay.
get it here and it would be easy, but now this one you're having to hold it down to pin it.
Oh, okay. So you're using that top one as your chopping, your pressure, your
Right,
down pressure.
right. And then,
Nice.
sometimes this is one of my other handles that I'm making. I'll hook both chains to a different uh, cable there, and it adds actually another direction to it. You can see it there. The pin is off centered there. So when you
Yeah.
grab it, you put your finger there. And so when you're pulling on it, it's trying to open your hand up when you're pulling against it.
Oh man, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, and then the one I love and hate to use at the same time. Remember I said the bigger, more obnoxious to use,
Oh
the better.
my. Look at that
This
thing.
this protect the fingers. I'll do the same thing. Put a chain on both directions, and so
Wow.
it forces that hand
Oh man. Look at that thing.
to pull that way.
Jeez, like you're pulling King Kong.
Right. Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
moly.
because you're like somebody's out on your hand, so it gives you that strength to hang
Yeah.
on when somebody
This
beats you to
fingertip.
begin with.
Yeah, I got you.
Right.
Wow. That is an
And
awesome
so
set.
something like this, I mean, you can get a really good workout just in that. Like say it's got three weights on it,
That is
and you can
sweet.
stack as much as you want. Um, one of my
Got,
other
got my definitely got my like Jeff said, got my wheels a turning for sure. I'm kind of looking around to see what I can do now with some different contact points because I got some rails here from a garage door that I could actually hook up to
right,
and
and
utilize.
then this is one of my other favorite wheels here. I call this my murder bar because it's murder to use. It'll weight on. And I like using just the 5 pound weights on it because it gets the weight gets leverage on you. Because if
Yeah,
I put the same amount of weight with big weights down here, it's easier to lift than it is with a bunch of little weights.
gotcha.
So one of the things I've been doing a lot of, especially
Man, I hope these
Weights.
young guys are paying attention. I hope these young guys are paying attention. Holy moly!
So that's one of my favorite exercises lately. Is I'll take it and I'll lift it this way.
Yeah,
Okay, and then I'll take it and lift it this way.
gotcha.
And this one kills my hand. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the
What is
worst thing
that?
on my
Like a
hand.
2.5 inch pipe on your where your hands at?
Um, yeah, it's a piece of muffler pipe is what it is that
Wow.
I welded onto the 1 inch bar to get that over the top of it. But see,
Holy
that
moly!
puts all the weight on the top of your hand,
Yeah, working that
and
ride
then
crazy in your
yeah,
prison.
I'd say this. If you want to get started cheap, this is pretty easy because this was you can do a lot with it. You can do hammer curls with it this way, or I'll do a lot of curls with it this way.
Holy moly! Wow, dude, that is
So
a
yeah,
lot of weight. 20 pounds
I
just
like
sitting
that
there,
one.
just man, that's sweet.
Yeah, and it's when you get I can't do it till I warm up, but when you get all the weights stacked up here, I can't do the sideways one, but even doing the hammer curls because of the leverage that this has on you, it gives you this stability because it's wanting to you're
Yeah,
like you're everything you do 2 to 3 different directions, right?
yeah.
So when
I'm writing that
when
down.
this gets real heavy, when this gets real heavy with the weight up here, you're having to control it from doing this on you because it wants to, even though you're just lifting it this way.
Yeah, wow. Holy moly. That is great information there. Great information for sure. That is awesome. That is sweet, man. Let's see. Michael says, I'm soaking it up. And then Jeff says, this podcast will be replayed and studied. That's for sure.
And the other thing about working out too is I I always like fat grips. You know, like I showed you that bar there. It's always that big. Um, when you're doing your exercises, do start out with a fat grip, okay? Because we want to build your hand and wrist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do it. You know, lift, work up to as heavy as you can, and then when you can't do it, like say we're doing curls, do half curls when it gets too heavy to do full curls.
Oh, okay.
Um, I tell everybody to start out doing full curls though too, because you don't want to be just strong right here, and if somebody pulls you to here, oh, I don't have that strength anywhere, right?
Right,
So
right,
that's
right.
what full curls are going to do for you. But then after you get to the point of um, where you can't do it with fat grips, take the fat grips off, then do the small bar.
Okay.
Okay, that's one of the things I learned. Because this one of the simpler handles that I have that I kind of figured out. I was doing fat grips and stuff a little too much. Most people don't do it enough. I was doing it a little bit too much. But when, especially like when I'm pulling against this one here,
Hmm.
it's kind of interesting because I showed you the cam that it has, like pulling on it, and then like I said, I keep adding weight. When it gets to a point where I can't do that anymore, then I'll turn it and I'll put that in the palm of my hand instead of on the fingertips.
Hmm.
Then I'm able to lift more weight. Okay, and then when I get to where I can't lift that anymore, I'll actually switch. This one's just real simple. It's just a piece of PVC and a bolt and a chain. But then, so then after I've killed my hand and my forearm,
Yeah.
this takes my hand out of the equation. So,
Wow.
so if you think about that, that's the reason you want the fat grips is because your hand is the major component.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
But then you can do, like say I use this one because it
You get
allows
the
you to
rest
work
of
in
it.
here
Yeah.
because you're not doing a lot of when you get really heavy. That's when you're engaging that brachialis or whatever it's called on the side there.
Yeah. Holy moly. Yeah. That is great information there, Mark. Great information. I like the way that you incorporated a lot of chain into your handles. That is aesthetically pleasing to me.
Yeah, it was mostly just what worked.
That's that's nice. I got some chain here I can maybe you got me thinking. You got me thinking, Mark. I'm gonna probably replay this also quite a few times to get some more ideas for my training for sure. I have some stuff that I can maybe utilize this chain with now. I think, yeah,
Right.
that's gonna work out real nice. That's gonna work out real good. But yeah, if anybody else has any more questions for Mark about any of his training equipment or anything like that, make sure you post it in the comments now. We're going to be wrapping it up. I think we're just about 2 hours deep. It's usually is what happens if you get a good podcast going. You get the conversation going. It easily can go past the allotted time. You know, it's
Right.
really easy to go long. I think our first one went like 3 hours for sure. I think is what it was,
Yeah.
but so we'll give them a few minutes and see if anybody else asks any more questions or whatnot. But that is a really nice setup, and you got me thinking for sure on my stuff. So instead of doing 10 different movements, I add you know a different pulley to maybe situate my pulleys a certain way to where I can get both in one instead of having to do two or three or four different movements. Okay, I just do this one movement and then just maybe add a little bit more weight on either or pin because I got two different pins I can use in two different pulleys. So I got one on the
Right.
table that's adjustable, maybe like, I don't know, a foot and a half between the top of the table and then, up. And then I got just a hook pulley that I can hook to. I have one, two, three, four or five different anchor points I can go off of from the rafters that I put in. So
Right.
you definitely got me thinking for sure.
Yeah. Just like you were talking with the bands when you were asking about the different things. So I'll do that with this one when I'm pulling on it. I'll pull against it with it straight on. I'll turn a little bit so it's pulling here. I'll pull on it here, pull on it here. Same thing, and same thing here. And pull on it here. So just work all those different angles. You know, yeah. And you're talking about 10 different exercises. Like I got so many different ones I do. It's like I have no idea. I kind of go through phases where I'll do something for a while and then I'll do something different for a while. So
Yeah. Michael Malone asked, I'd like one of those fat handles. Is Mark selling any? Question mark.
yeah, I haven't. I've thought about it, but never have done it. But
Well, Michael, get a hold of Mark on Facebook and add him on Facebook, and maybe you guys can work something out. Wilkie says, "Man, Mark, that was good stuff. Thanks for sharing all that with us, and I appreciate it also. That was
sure.
very much well appreciated the information that you give out there. We really appreciate it.
So yeah, that's the only other thing I'd say is if you want to build endurance, you need to be pulling multiple hours at a time.
Nice, yeah. I think that's one thing I need to work on for sure is my endurance and being able to pull quite a bit. I know it's gotten better over the last couple years, but it's not where it needs to be. Like I'm sure you, yeah, I don't know if you got to pull Kevin in France or not, but Kevin will come to like recently he came to one of our practices and then went to another practice the next day and then pulled a tournament the day after that. I'm like,
You-
how?
yeah,
How?
you got to be pretty good shape to do that. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
it's
Kevin's still young. He's I think 27 or something like that, 28, and in great shape. Great shape.
yeah,
He wouldn't be where he's at without being in the shape that he's in. So
right. I did a little of that in France because I pulled. I don't remember which day it started, but it was like it started out left-handed masters, and then the next day it was right-handed masters. The next day was left-handed open. Next day was right-handed open. So I pulled like 4 days in a row. You know, every other day. Different arms. That did give it a
yeah.
little break. But
Oh man, I pulled on a Monday and then tried to pull on a Thursday last week. Oh, oh boy, that was yeah. My arm didn't like it at all. It was
right,
crying. I got maybe two or three good tugs in with my right. Now it was just like, nope, you're done. It was just
right,
too much. It was, and I did do recovery work on that Tuesday or Wednesday, and it's just too much for me. But you know, it is what it is. We'll deal with the pain as it comes and try to recover accordingly. But
right.
yeah, I appreciate all the information. Mike said, or no, Kara, Kara Stan. She says best podcast yet. Awesome.
Okay.
Mike said that's good advice as well. Thanks for that. And Mike Brown, he's here. He says definitely one of the best educational podcasts. Thank you, Mark and Billy. Awesome, Mark. Can't thank you enough, man, for coming on the
Sure.
podcast and sharing your knowledge, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Uh, I can't help it. That's who I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Mark, I appreciate your time and your effort, man, and I really thank you for what you do for the community, and can't thank you enough for sharing your knowledge about your training and everything, and being the man that you are. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, glad to be on your show.
Hey, I appreciate it, and just keep in touch. You can stop in on the community podcasts. Those will be on Zoom. If you want to get in on those, it'll probably be an open invite for those, so anybody will be able to pop in anytime that they want and pop right out whenever they want. Also, so you'd have to have a Zoom account and the Zoom app on your phone, but you know it should be a lot of fun, and hopefully you can instill some knowledge in these young pullers like you did here tonight.
Sure.
That sounds like a plan. Well, Mark, I appreciate your time and thank you for everything, and you have a wonderful evening.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll do it again sometime.
All righty. God bless everybody. Have a great night.
All right. Bye.